people. I'm just on to make sure I'm on, and then I'll give it a minute because it's supposed to be live at 7. So then we'll check if he's online, or he'll probably send me an invite as soon as he gets online. So I'm going to do a couple of these videos. Hi, welcome to meet people. There's not many, actually. There's far more women on the spiritual awakened journey. Hi. Tons of women on this journey, and they're compared to men. There's a big difference, actually. Wow, it's amazing. So there are far less men. It'll slower, maybe, to catch on than us. We'll just see. So you're going to be meeting one of them. Hopefully we'll be meeting many of them. But there's many people. I've met such an amazing... And this is the future. So basically this is what it's going to be about. Meeting the future. This is the future of humanity. Where are we going? So these are, I suppose, like the way shows, the first awakened ones on the planet in that aspect. There's many more. But this is where we're heading. Higher consciousness, higher abilities, being, walking in tune, in the flow with our souls. Amazing. So yeah, I just thought, I'm going to introduce you to some of these lovely people I've come across. I love them, and they're all different. Everybody is so unique in their own way, and their own gifts, because you've got your own cash. Your souls, not one will ever be the same. So it's fantastic. I love it. I love it. And everybody's bringing their special gift to the table, which is so necessary, so needed. So it's this beautiful co-creation. If it's done in love and unity, what an incredible future we'll have. What an incredible future. So let me see. I know it's a bit early. Let me check if he's on. Not. Okay. Not yet. Maybe he'll send me one. He'll be there shortly. I need to go to work, so if he's a little bit late. So you meet this young man who lives in Ireland. Let's dig out his story, what he wants to share with us. I want from every person, actually, I want to find out just a little bit, not too personal, but kind of, was there anything to their background? Because a lot of people that have now become healers or way shows or light workers actually come from a lot of adversary. The awakening came from a lot of not pleasant. It wasn't just sort of, some were born that way, but yeah, they have a lot of adversity in their history, which is interesting. Not pleasant, So let's see. But it's also, we need the masculine. We need a lot of men that will be way showers for the masculine, energy, because we know it's been unbalanced. The feminine masculine on the planet has been way out of balance for too long. So it needs to be brought back into balance, and this is why it's been brought up to humanity at the moment. It's in the forefront as very imbalanced, because it's trying to get it's a reflection. Everything as within, so without. So it's trying to get our attention that our energies, masculine and feminine, is very unbalanced within all of us. We need to bring it back into balance. And the masculine has been way over dominant. Has been too dominant on the planet, and not. So let's see. So we do need. See if he's there. No, not yet. Not yet. All right. Let me just check. He's running a bit late. See if I can message him. Okay. So he should send me, yeah. Okay, sorry people, I'll be 1 second. So I love meeting men, especially, that are doing shaman work or healing work and things like that. It's so nice. And you see another one that I share a lot of his videos is Aiden Betham. I share a lot of his stuff on my page as well. Now, funny enough, Aiden, stepmother, when he was his stepmother for some reason, was on TikTok. He said, look at me, and saw me, and she said, look, she's talking out of what you're talking about. Why don't you, go live? So I inspired him. I was so happy when he told me, as I love what he's doing, and he's really flourishing. So because seeing me live and sharing my story and just, being out there in my pajamas and whatever, just, astral granny at it, So that inspired him. Oh, well, okay, I can talk out. So it inspired him to start talking out and making videos. So I was so chuffed. He said I was his actual thing to go live. His stepmom said, look, So I was so chuffed. And he's doing so well. We need so many young people, like him. So I was so chuffed to hear that. I was like, wow. So I often share his stuff. Aiden's not a crazy one about doing live. So let's see if he, with other people, I should say. Okay, he's not there yet. 1 minute, he says. 1 minute. So don't always blame women. Anyway, I love it. So you can find out. Aha, there we are. Okay, I've sent him an invite to join. Yay! He's on. There we are. Hello.
Am I on?
Yeah, you are, but where are you? I can't see you.
I need to turn this on now. Give me a second. Oh, there we are. Can you see me?
Yeah, but you're a teeny little blotch in the corner. How do I get you to get to... How do I get you to, share the screen with me?
I have no clue. I'm hoping you're the pro at this, so I was hoping you'd know.
I don't know, because normally I sent the invite and they joined. This time you sent me one. So I actually don't know. I'm looking here to think, well, how do I get you this? You were teeny dot. I didn't like that. Let me see. I don't know. Never happened to me before. Share your voice settings. I really don't know. I'm looking. I'm trying. I'm trying to see if I can find settings for the camera. Maybe now that you're on here.
I think it's patience. I've been taught lots of patience today.
How do I get you on here now? You're teeny. All I can see. What are you seeing on your screen?
I can. Your screen is big and mine isn't. Well, let me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's not good. All right. Okay. Let's go out, and then let me send you one and see if it makes a difference. Let's just.
Okay.
So exit. Let's see, and I'll send you an invite now. Weird. Okay. Let's see. Okay, where is he? Okay, not showing you on live. Okay, it's not showing him there. Let's see. Okay, you'll have to go live again. Let's see. Okay, he's on now. Yes, all right. Now let's try. Try and send him a thing. Okay. Not showing him live yet now. This is fun. Okay, doesn't show him live. Okay. I'm not seeing you live. If you're on here, Anthony, it's not showing you on. Where does the story now? Let's try. Okay. If you can hear me, Anthony, when I try, it's not showing that you're online. So, okay. Let me see. I'm just sending him a message to go live again. Let's see if he is now. Ah, there he is. Ha. Okay, live invite sent. Okay, I've sent him an invite. Let's see if he gets it in time. Hey, yes! You know what I did? It said, you got host and you got a guest or something, right? I put host, co-host. So maybe that's it.
Okay.
But you have to be live. How are you? Anyway, let me do this first. How things? I love that. I love that Irish thing. How things?
Things are all right. Although I was trying to get home from work to do this, and all the cars were in front of me, and I was like, Anthony, you're being taught patience. Just relax. Relax, and you'll get there. Fine. How are you doing?
Oh, things are good, my side. I love this how things. It's one of my favorite greetings now. I love it. How things? Sorry.
Yeah, but
I love it.
Everyone says how are you, or how are you, or how are you, but we don't actually want to know how you are. That's just what I find so hilarious.
It's a saying, but I just love the saying, I think that's just a way of
I
it.
caught I caught the start of what you were saying before I joined about the masculine and the feminine,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's such a hot topic, isn't it?
Ooh. Yeah, it's been seriously imbalanced, as we know. You know, I mean, a woman didn't even have voting rights a while ago, whatever. We're still having issues. You can see well, it's coming up. Women are rising up. You can see. So there's been a massive suppression of the, yeah, but it is an imbalance. Everything that's in balance, out of balance, as we know, has been brought up and the new energies that came in last night that started. It's going to bring up a lot, the darkest shadow in us. So if it's going to come out in us, it's going to come out there. So it's going to be a real cleaning out, a real purging or pushing up of a lot of stuff. I get a feeling, yes. It's not energy that's, yeah. It's interesting times.
But isn't it the interesting thing? I mean, you often talk about it's like you'll go through something yourself, and then after you go through it and learn the lesson, then you'll see it as the other person on the other side, and then you'll see it as the observer. And it's like source gives you all perspectives of the one scenario, but the
Yeah.
only problem, you're the person going through it at the start, and you're going through the heaviness. You can't see outside the box because you're stuck in the box. But once you go through it, you end up outside, and all of a sudden you see it all.
You know, if something comes my path, like if something comes up and it's like, you know, I think it could be a challenge or it could be confrontational, I'll sit there, give me 5 minutes, 2 minutes, Devin, and ask, okay, let me do this from the highest perception and highest perspective. So before I take the call and want to now get involved in the conversation, I take that 2 minutes to reset and say, right, let me see it from the highest perception and highest perspective. And that works out always so well. It gives me that. And then I don't just react. I'm showing it from a very, you know, from the best thing. Anyway, now people want to get to know you because I mean, I want to do this so people can get to. I've met so many amazing people, and they're all so different. This is what people think we're all going to be. We're not going to be. Yes, we might all be in the heart and tolerant, and this love and this unity is there. But we are still unique, and because we have unique akashas, unique experiences, unique shadows, unique everything. I mean, we've all got our own shit to go through on this journey. Is quite. So give us a bit of a background. One thing I want to ask, your background, not being too personal, but like from you, what was the cause of your awakening? Was it childhood, or did you have did you have a lot of trauma in this life? Or were you, anyway, just give us some sort of overview that you feel comfortable sharing, obviously.
Um, So I'll skip forward and I'll go back. So a while ago, I did shamanic training, and one of the things that came up in shamanic training is when you have a shaman in the jungle. Typically, when them kids are born, they go through an awful lot of health stuff growing up, and it's actually very interesting when I look back because I haven't learned that in the present, and I can now look back. And so when I was growing up, when I was a kid, I used to have a lot of things like febrile convulsions, and I had a lot of medical stuff would have happened back then. And it's just funny that I can see the synchronicities in it now going forward. Now that wouldn't have caused my awakening. I just find it very interesting that.
So were you quite a sickly child?
Yeah, I would have had
Oh, wow.
febrile convulsions. Would have been a big thing when I was younger. Now I don't have seizures, thank God. But yeah, as a child, I was very sick. Lots of issues with my ears as well. But it's just funny that it seems to be a similar path to what shaman kids in the tribes go through. Because I was like, interesting. But how I started getting into spiritual stuff, and this is why I push for men specifically to do sports, and to do sports in the sense where you have a mentor. So when I was 16, I started doing martial arts. Actually, it was kind of funny. So, a typical 16-year-old, you're a guy, you're after hitting puberty, you have all this extra energy, you just want to fight, because you have all this energy to use.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was in transition year, and in transition year, it's a year where you do loads of different topics. Like you might do lots of visits outside the school and lots of sports. Like it's different than a normal year. It's not focused around the curriculum necessarily. So they brought in a martial arts instructor, and
In your school?
in my school, yeah. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
One stage demonstrating a move on me, and I don't know why, but in my head after he demonstrated the move, I just got in my head I was going to try hit him. There was no reason for it, right? So I tried to do it. All I know is I didn't see anything for like 3 seconds. Everything just went black, and when he didn't he did something. He moved my body, and I just couldn't remember. And when I realized where I was facing the opposite direction. He had me in a hold, and he just said to me, "You better calm down," but in a very passive, calm way.
Yeah.
So that happened. I was like, I want to start doing martial arts with this lad. So when I was 16, so like 2 weeks later, I started doing martial arts in his
It's
center.
channeling that anger, that energy. Instead of it becoming negative and anger, you channeled it positive in some way positive. Yeah, very, very helpful.
Built up heavy energy I had into this man, and he redirected around me and came back to me with softness. And it was just something in that moment. I was like, I need to train under this guy. So I started doing martial arts when I was 16. And so, because I was now channeling this energy into fighting, I didn't want to fight, first of all. So, one, I didn't want to fight. Two, I was around other men and women that were all very conscious about their health. Because they're looking after themselves training, they generally tend to type people that they'd be eating healthier, they wouldn't be going out drinking and all that kind of stuff. So I'm 16 and I'm learning, I'm already getting this positive influence. In the martial art I did, it's called, but there's no competitions. So you're only training for yourself to become a better version of you. There was no, well, we're training to go to a competition next week and you better beat the crap out of this lad. There was none of that.
Yeah.
So now what I had was, I was in an environment where I was around people that were kind-hearted, people that were looking up after themselves. I had a really good mentor. I was learning to improve my body. So I had all these positive influences around me. And after doing it for a year or two, the more advanced guys were there, and they were just talking about how they could create energy between their hands. So in science, you call it biomechanical energy. But they're able to create these balls of energy between their. You could put your hand between their hand. You could feel this energy. So I knew it was a tangible thing because you could physically feel a sensation from it. So when I heard about this, I was like, how can I use this energy, or how can I learn more? And when I think it was 20 or 21, I started doing Reiki. And then that's how I really got into the energy work, because now all of a sudden I was going to meditation classes. I was being in tune to Reiki. So I was learning how to pull this energy into my body. And I was learning that my body is, the way I like to describe it is, your body is like a tube. And so all the energy if I'm giving a healing, the energy that's going into someone, it's not my energy. I'm just a tube that's allowing the.
Funneling it through.
In shamanism, they call it the hollow bone. So you're just a hollow bone, and the energy is just traveling down through you.
When it's coherent, when your energy is not coherent, I noticed that, and this is what I was saying, especially now during this time, where this is going to be a really tricky time. And I said to people, besides your meditation and grounding, people need to do that, need to do Tai Chi or Qigong, because when your energy is like this, or it's very scattered over the place or not coherent, you're not getting that coherent torus field. You will not feel coherent. You're not in coherence with the field anyway. But the minute you get into coherence with the field, and it's like,
I always think of it. You have to hit mind, body, and spirit. You have to hit yourself from them. So your body is your exercise. Your mind is some form of study, spending time with your friends, socializing and stuff like that. And then spirit is you're connecting to the earth, you're meditating. And if you're hitting all them triangles, I think that's when just everything just goes well. Because even when bad stuff happens, you'll just manage it better.
yeah. So now, carry on. You did this, and then you did Reiki, yeah? Okay, so you did martial arts, and then you did Reiki, yeah?
And then I did Reiki. And then everything just kept progressing from that. And like with the healing work, it kept getting better. I started becoming a clearer channel. So like astral traveling and all that stuff became really super easy for me to do. But then, so what am I for now? Boom, boom, boom. Then in the last few years, I'd kind of taken a step. You end up taking a step back for a while. And last August, I went to a men's circle, and it was beautiful. It was on the beach. It was 3 Tuesdays in a row. We met there at 6:30 in the morning, and I finished like 10. So we were getting there before the sun was coming up. So it was lovely. And every day that was there, even if it would rain, it never rained where we were. It was like we were held in this container. You know yourself, magic is like. But after doing the men's circle, though, that's when I started learning more about divine masculine, divine feminine, wounded masculine, wounded feminine. And that's where I've started to realize, like, women as a group, you are fantastic in doing the work on yourselves. Men were so far behind. Like, even the idea of men find it hard just to say how they feel. And like, you find it hard
a lot. And I think it's more of a problem where you are. Your country has had a lot of turmoil and suffering. Well, I mean, if it wasn't the Romans that tried to break them, then the British. So you've really had it there, and I've seen it. It's very obvious when I was there. Very suppressed, so a lot of poverty, very hard things were. So I noticed it very much. The energy of the land is so clean and so pure. but there is so much because you're taught, because it also became a Catholic country. Ooh, so I found a lot of it. I picked that a lot. There's so much trauma. It's like going through a lot of these war zones where there's been a lot of wars and trauma. So you've got a lot of work, depending, because of the strong religious story you've had there now, that really try to suppress the paganism or the old, because it was such a spiritual country. So the Catholic is very dominant, and this was about keep quiet, don't look, look the other way, you know, pretend you didn't see that. Ooh, a lot of abuse happened there and all things, yeah. So
And it's interesting. I was only reading a thing the other day, and it was talking about how if you look at Ireland as a country, the reason why people are so fond of drinking is because it's a trauma response.
yeah,
So we've
yeah,
all
addiction.
been exposed to so much trauma, and then the addiction to drink is just a way of suppressing
Yeah.
it all. Actually, it's interesting as well because I was reading this other thing the other day. I was talking about the three generations of we'll say trauma, but the trauma wasn't the word. It's like the first generation is the one that go through the wars. So it was talking about like the troubles that would have happened up the north. You know, it was looking at all these different situations that would have happened, and it was like this is how it affected the first generation, and then this is how it affected the second generation, and then this is how it affected the third. And if you watch the gap, you can
Oh,
see. I think it was in the
yeah.
second generation. Without them realizing they were going to have an awful lot of anxiety and stress built inside them, but they wouldn't be aware of it. And it was just fascinating to see how it's all just passed down.
Yeah.
And if you
Massive
don't get that,
generational trauma on the planet. And it's very clear. I'm very sensitive. You know what I found. It's a very strange war country because I've worked in many war. That was my previous job. I worked in war zones, so it was a lot of trauma and problems and violence and shit. You know, it's not good. They've had a long time, so it doesn't go away easily. But what I found with your country, not so much. The people are very. I think they're used to it. So the people are very easy. Like this is what I found interesting about them. They're like a lot of them are just very easy go, yeah, whatever, you know, they're just used to it. They're used to, they just let it go. They don't like let it, they don't sit with it so much. But then you've also got, as you say, a lot of the land feels lighter, the area feels light, which is so unusual because normally you feel it. You feel this heaviness throughout the whole country. This energy is heavy. There, its heaviness is not. The heaviness is not there. It's only held within individuals, certain individuals, really. But generally, the people are pretty much lighter compared. It's very hard unless you've been to many of these countries to felt know the difference. So it was such a bizarre situation. Um, I think it's just because of the religion. So it's just don't think, you don't look there. Blah, blah, blah. It's been very your spirituality. This is why it's so important and it's interesting. I always find it interesting when I meet people that, especially in certain countries, and I think, wow, that's a tough place to be. There's some countries will be the last ones to move into a higher frequency. I won't mention names, but there are going to be one or two. They're going to be the last, and you can see why, because of this very much control, violence, military aggression, blah, 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 nonsense. But there, the history of your island is so esoteric. It's so strange. And then it's been so suppressed, like Peru was massively esoteric and a very, very spiritual place when they conquered it, actually. And then the church completely, it's so wow. So I found it strange. When I meet people, I think, ooh, interesting, that you are placed in these countries and in certain areas. Why? And this is why I'm interviewing all you guys, because you guys are the future. You are the future. You are going to be leading, showing, and healing, and doing a lot. You young people have got a lot of work ahead of you on this planet to bring in the new age, to bring in, bring people up to speed, to heal. Oh, there's going to be a lot of this needed on the planet. So you guys are the way showers, are the future. You really are our foundation of the future. So this is why I'm so keen to, and it makes me happy because then I know, like, when I decide to move to the other side, I'm going to be watching, and I'm watching this, and I'm seeing. Okay, I'm trying to get everyone as high as possible because the higher frequency or the higher consciousness you all hold, you're
yeah,
putting up. You're setting the bar. So this is, people don't realize how important it is now to get our consciousness. This is why there's also so much noise out there to suppress it, to bring fear. They want to keep, so the more fear. So it's a real challenge to raise your consciousness and your vibration as high as possible in the current circumstances, because you've got externally a lot of the excellent opposite trying to keep your vibration down. But you guys, the higher we make it now, because the shift ends in 2030, that we hit the roof, and then you've set that bar. This is, so the majority, if we can raise it as high as possible, this is where you're going to likely pull up the collective.
No, I hear what you're saying. Just for the person asking, it's Kildare. But come here, you're not allowed to leave us anytime soon. We need at least.
I'm not in charge here. In that aspect, you don't know. You never. I did. I already left 2 years ago, and I came back. It's hard to get rid of me.
It has. That's no. I've seen. There's been a group. There's been a group of us that you've been kind of pulling up, and I've seen that as well, and I've seen how you do that, and I think that's the best thing, because it's like what whether it's physical world or online or whatever, it's like what I find is pools of people are being pulled together, and then it's like as one person in the group ascends to a higher level, they bring the group up, and now all of a sudden the group keeps going up and up and up and up and up and up. And that's what I love about this spiritual stuff. People that are genuinely doing their work and they're in it for the right reasons, when they get with a group, the whole group benefits because everyone rises together, as opposed to one person rises and takes all the power. I don't.
This is what happens, because we all connected part of the field. So whatever you're pushing into the field, the higher consciousness, love, the more of us holding it, we're flooding that into the field, and it does pull everybody up. This is why it's so important for the more of us to spread it and hold it and push it into the field, love, or that the more like the higher consciousness, we affect the field. When they're flooding it with so much darkness and trying to put fear in, we got to pump, the other way. We got to pump it the other way. So the higher we can hold, we actually will, being the stronger frequency and higher, we are going to pull them up. So we're setting the standard, because then it's going to stop. So then it'll be a very slow evolution after that. Now we've got this accelerated thing, but once the window 2030 sort of cuts, we're going to then be on this, we've kind of set the consciousness bar thing.
And I always find it interesting. If you're looking at mainstream stuff and you're seeing all the fear being spread out, I always take it as a good sign. It's like, we're obviously doing a lot of good work on our end, and that's why they need to pump it in our end. It's to try counterbalance, but they can't really counterbalance.
We're pushing out the shadow. The light is pushing up the shadow. It's not like they want to. It's like, holy shit. It's like the light's coming in and we're getting triggered and we're going through healing and this and then the karma. Oh, that's been a journey. Wow. So as within, so without. So it's going, this current energy that came in last night, like I told you last night, some of it. So the current energy that came in last night, I'm working on that with my, divine help, so I can sleep. I'm going to be sleeping no matter what, because as things have been, when these energies come in or whatever, I know it, I feel it, and then I'm wide awake. I just do not sleep. So, I woke up, I went to sleep last night early, no problem, and then 12 o'clock, bang, there you are, and you're feeling it, but this was different, and I felt the shock wave. So there was a shock, and I've felt all of these, and I can tell you this is going to happen. You can go back to my videos and you'll see, okay, this is coming in, and this is going to bring liberation, the feeling this is doing there, we've all go through these, but this was a shock wave, and this came with darkness. So it's a lot of darkness is going to be coming to this. So this is to really bring up darkness. Clear. It's like it's a deep clearing, I think, planetary. So possibly we'll see it on the planet with the outside. But this is all it is. It's gonna just push up shite. That's not, it's no longer serves us on a collective for us to choose really and say, no, what? So I think a lot of it. This is why I'll make some more smaller videos about people to be a bit more how to navigate this, because otherwise it can be very, the best is to ignore it, because it's like your shadow. It's not your shadow. Let it, or it's going to suck you in and freak you out, and you won't know which way. It's going to be like tennis. It's going to be unnerving.
I often, that phrase, it's like one person can't take on the weight of the world. And it's basically the idea of it. I've phrased it wrong, but basically the idea of you can only manage the stuff that's going on in your life. And there's no point in what's going on in a country, the far end of the world, that you can't actually help. So it's like it's when your own trauma and your own triggers come up, focus on them and focus on yourself. And focus on your own family or the people around you. Don't be worried about the stuff that's really far out, because you can't impact it anyway in a physical sense.
It's a habit. It's a habit. It's drama. It's gossip. It's this and that. Oh, what happened in America? Oh, they let you. Oh, this is going. Oh, this is all it is. All that noise. It's noise. It's a distraction. And anyone you channel, any of the channels will tell you at the moment, do not be distracted. Ground is like made. Ground. Do this because also the energy is like mine, and I know I'm very sensitive. I've been battling. I have to. I actually go out in the forest now whenever it's leaves under, trying to find a little dry spot under a tree somewhere to go and sit, take my shoes off, and trying to ground and then do that with energies, because otherwise my energies are like, it's just so much. You feel discombobulated. You're going to find it hard to focus mentally. It's going to be mentally. So we have to get our energy to be coherent. So get that heart brain going, sink into the brain, do the Tai Chi, and we're going to have to meditate or whatever. Or you're going to lose your marbles. It's very easy to, I think the brain is going to be, also with the planetary alignments, the mind to focus is going to be a big challenge. So you've got your work set ahead of you. So give us an idea of what your plans are, where you've been guided. Besides you doing healing work, tell people what you're doing anyway.
Do you know what I find lately? It's like ideas come up, and that's how I just go with them. Like before, like that many years ago, I would have almost pre-planned stuff, but now it's kind of like on the drive, on the way over here. God, what was I thinking about? That's gone now. But like you have it the same as well. It's just like ideas come up and then you run with it. But I feel so I'm consistently doing healing work. So Reiki, Rahani, I provide one-to-one sessions, and then I facilitate different group stuff. Like so, I might do healing circles, which is basically where it's meditation, but I might be doing shamanic drumming, singing bowls, doing different stuff like that. But a lot of my work seems to be based on, okay, so if I was to characterize my work in two different ways, one of it is I think it's going to go down the route of working a lot more with men, divine masculine stuff. So
needed.
Yes, like there's an event, I wanted to do it last summer, workout, but basically where I'm just going to get a bunch of men and we're going to stay the night in the forest. And it's going to be that very much that tribal thing of, right, we're now in the forest, we're going to have to set up our camp, we're going to have to set up our fire. Do you know this kind of, I feel men need that kind of stuff to entice them in, because it can be hard to entice men in, but if you bring them, if you have real tribal stuff going on, men just get drawn into that. And I think, I was listening to this thing the other day and it makes sense. It's like when you have a dog that's acting out, if you put that dog into a pack of other dogs that are well trained, them dogs will, like, they'll bring that other dog back into balance. And in this video, what they're actually talking about was men. They showed an example then of, you had a group of divinely masculine men that were working on themselves, and you take a wounded man in and you put him into that group, and what happens is he starts to benefit from being around them people. So for me, more fellas like myself hold space for other men in a very positive way. When wounded men come in, all of a sudden we're all each other and we're sharing that energy. Then the other work I'm really drawn to, or I do consistently, is working on trauma. So for me, it's, we all have trauma, even if it's small or if it's huge, but we all have trauma. And it's, when clients come to me, it's like, it's going back into whatever that trauma is to heal it. And I always find this, the more we heal the trauma, the lighter our body gets and the happier we are at the end. But don't get me wrong, it's hard to go through trauma, but you always...
You see it in the astral, when your third eye, you see it as light, like light, white light. But it's actually, it's light. It's your energy is getting physically, you're actually physically getting lighter because you're dropping more density. So you're right, yeah, big time.
And the way I'd look at it with trauma as well is, it's like when a traumatic experience happens, you lose a little bit. Well, you lose a little bit of your consciousness, so you're not as fully conscious. So as the more you start healing this trauma, you're bringing your consciousness back into whole. That's the perspective I found.
Don't you find also back into the body? I found when you've been very traumatized with trauma, when you first, if you start working on yourself, you realize you actually you're not even in the body. People that didn't feel safe in their body. So that's for them, they're actually in the mind. They're actually not even in the physical body. We don't realize it till you're here. You're in the mind, in the thought. You're not in the body. So the more, like the Buddha said, the more you can bring into the now and then be in the body. That's what the Tai Chi and Qigong helps. And the grounding, be on the body, that is like, wow. It's like having a sedative. This is what actually calms you, is getting out of the mind. But most people, we're in our thoughts in the mind. And if you actually, because you don't even realize until you get centered that you're not in the body. And you put your focus, bring your consciousness back into the body, and it's like, man, this is so cool. But with you, what about I mean, I don't know, this is an idea because you were talking about your martial arts. Like doing things, I mean, that'll help with them with the kids as well because you've got that Tai Chi. So, this guys group, you can use that as well. I mean, your martial arts or what do you do?
Yeah,
What kind of martial arts is it?
it's Wing Chun. It's
Ooh,
basically it's like boom 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 control and restraint. It's more of a defensive rather than offensive.
yeah.
That makes sense. But it's like I said to people, it doesn't matter what physical sport you're doing. It's once
But this
you're,
this you can do, man. You like saying getting guys together. If it's not around a bar, you want to get them in a positive, right? So you're getting them together. You've got this. What about doing? To do the physical like Tai Chi as well, like as you're doing this tribal thing, like it's everyday ritual. So what would you do this martial art
yeah,
thing with it, or another? Do you do Tai Chi or Qigong or what?
doing a workshop, I definitely bring it into it as well. But actually, just going back to what you said there, it was so interesting when I was at the men's circle that came up as a common thing. The lads were saying, "I want to spend time with my friends, but they only want to spend time in the pub, and I don't want to be in the pub because I've given up drink." Not me; they were saying it. It was like
Mm.
it was a conscious thing that was coming up. And I just thought, wow, which is good because it means people in the group have evolved to a stage that they're like, actually, I don't want to be fucking drinking or I don't want to be in the pub all the time.
A lot of youngsters, thank God, are actually getting out of drinking. It's just this generation, a lot of them are not into drinking, thank God, because it's a massive problem in Ireland and England. I think it's
And
the
what
weather culture. Every little village has got a church and a pub. I mean, it blows my mind because luckily I didn't grow up. I didn't, grow up here. I count myself lucky because, you have a lot more space and garden and different. We had a very privileged upbringing then. Actually, here they don't. So they normally don't even have a garden. The houses are little terrace box things, little boxes, in a box, in a matchbox in this country anyway. And there's just pubs. And what do the kids do? I find it horrendous here, and people want to blame the kids. But then I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, don't blame the kids. It's an environment. What do you expect from these children? Where can they go? I listened to someone say, oh, the children, it's in the park and they're drinking. I said, okay, you tell me, what can children do here? Their house is too small. They can't have friends over. They've got no privacy. They like to be alone, social. That's the age. You want to be social. You want to get together with your friends. You can't. Most people can't because they don't even have room in their houses. Their houses are too small and they got family issues. Where can they get out? Where can you get out together and have this safe space and have, you know what I mean? I would love to. In my vision, I was shown this thing, like have build a center thing. So I've been trying to win the lotto to build this. Because I'd love to build this thing for the community and say, here we are. Now I want to gift it to the community, like a proper center where they're not going to start charging people, where it's free, where everyone can go, and there is all of this, and this whole story. I would love that.
but do you know what I find interesting, right? It's like with the kids in your scenario, where are they? They're all outside in nature. If you ever look at people that have drug addictions, where do they tend to be? Out in nature. They're by trees, they're in the parks. I just find it so interesting that
Mm,
just on a very basic level, we're all drawn into nature. I
mm.
just that it's just so naturally there that just that's what we're all drawn to do.
And
But
how many people like not I can't say guys, but I suppose like same thing. I've noticed statistically there's more women awake in your area or where you stay or you work. How many is it? The percentage is also quite small. The amount of awakened people, or
if I was to throw at any of the events I do, for every 10 women you'll get one man, if you're lucky. There's not a lot of divinely masculine men doing work, like holding space, but the group of them type of men is increasing all the time. There's a lot more of them, and it kind of when we start going out and posting stuff, it's like they become very well known very quick. But I think that's because there's so few of them that
yeah,
when one steps forward in the right way and they really are doing the work on themselves, they like source seems to just elevate them quick.
yeah, needed.
But no, they're definitely becoming better. But it's like if you look at TikTok, I think a lot of the dating stuff and all that's going on for men now, it's right. Looking at it, you might be thinking, Jesus, this is a bit of a crisis. But I think the crisis is needed for men to switch paths. It's like they were going down this path, and now like you'll see it there with Tate and all these other different people talking. It's like that's helping now people choose the other path. If
Mm.
that the conversation had to happen first before people could be like, actually, I'm sick of it. If
Yeah.
if I'm
You know what? As I was just thinking, like your thing, like the martial arts, that's probably why you're going to get elevated big time out the front. Because Tai Chi, there's, see, guys, they'll be doing the spiritual path. They're not going to go, no, no, normally, they're a little bit, and they're not wanting to do yoga as much. Some of them, depends. But then they're more masculine to get them, because they think it's not, it's like, that's not man, not very manly. If you're survival type, right? Well, they're going to be the last to come in. So the real macho ego, right? So now, but Tai Chi, see, that's not seen as like her, because that's more like a martial art thing, you see. So Tai Chi, the actual Tai Chi, is now more like and that's used in your karate thing. So that would be more, you would see they'd be more inclined to slowly, to get them in step one or get their toe in the door. So Tai Chi, or like you do in the martial arts, something to get, because otherwise it's seen. Remote viewing, now you can do a course in remote viewing, they'll all be there. But you see, that's ego. You don't want people to do it. Oh, let me see what my wife's up to. I'm not joking. But you know what? This is what most people, this is why I didn't teach people. Because I'm like, no, you're not using it to go and spy on your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Is he cheating on me? This is not, that's the ego. You'll get punished. You're not going to get lucky there. Because that's not the point of this whole thing of remote viewing or, being but this gets people's interest. A lot of people I found when I first joined here, I was guided, right? My daughter told me, Mom, look, they're doing what you're doing, whatever. There's young people talking about what you're doing. And I was like, ah. And then I was listening to him. I thought, no, this is wishy-washy, whatever. Someone's misleading these people. It's not at all wherever they're getting thumb sucked. So it's the right information, yeah. But it would interest them because they're like, oh, I can remote view this, or I can astral tower. That thing, that gets people's interest because it's not here or there. And especially with a strong religious background. So there's one, like you say, that Qigong, Tai Chi, your thing, you're going to get more. And if you do a course, something I can show you how to do that, oh, cool. So you can actually, the idea, people think, it amazes people that you can go and view something in another country or another time, any like history, you can go back and see what happened in Ireland in 1700, or this interests people. It gets them, yeah. I don't know.
But it's like, if you use the energy in the wrong way, you will be punished because there's always imbalances.
Yeah, come back. Oh, it'll come back to bite you. Yeah.
It's like
what you give out. Yeah.
A lot. It's like if you wanted someone to text you or to get in touch with you, it's very easy to send that energy out. But it's like, but should you be? Is the other thing. But what you said actually very interesting. I know a guy that does yoga, and he only started a year ago, and he does his yoga on the beach. And every time he does it, he gets between 60 to 100 people there. Now I'm not sure if it's I think it actually is because he's a fella, and he does good yoga as well. But that seems to entice a lot of people out.
Mm.
But like you said, yoga again is typically women, like facilitating it.
Yeah. So there's something, yeah, because then I suppose people see it and they'll come and join, I mean, it's also nice, but it depends on the weather. That's the problem is in these countries, the weather. You don't have that all year weather. You will definitely get people flocking, but guys will be less, you see, that's what I'm saying, to get past that much, you'll get it anyway. You'll be guided. Wherever you're meant to go, your path, you're going to get guided, anyway.
Yeah. So, well, I have a feeling the forest thing is definitely going to work because group of men in the forest, there's obviously have other plans around that, but just the idea that it's so tribal. Do you know that? I know it's going to work. I know it will work, and I think down the road I'll end up doing a lot more things like that, and that's going to entice men in. But my regular week-to-week work seems to be it's all around trauma, if that makes sense. But I enjoy doing that as well because it's just so fascinating. So fascinating.
So what are you doing as far as that? Are you doing readings for them? Are you doing healing? I mean, what are you doing with your trauma for clients or whatever?
It's interesting. I'd never used the word that I'm psychic, even though I have psychic abilities. But it's like if I give someone a healing, messages always come through at the end. But I'd never say come to me for psychic reading. It's just not the way I typically operate it up. But you have it's like the way I look at it is when you start meditating and working on yourself and developing spiritual gifts, it's like just by doing it you walk into through one door, and once you walk through one door there's now 50 doors in front of you, and it's like one of them is clairvoyance, one is clairaudience, one is remote viewing, and it's like you have all these doors in front of you, and it's like the only thing that dictates whether you go through one of these doors or not is whether you're interested in it, because if you're interested, learn about it, and then you're going
Past lives. I don't know. I'm always curious. I'm like, I was always curious to see, like me, I've now figured out what the aversion was. I was like, an aversion to do quite a few things. I blocked certain gifts and I was like, people would ask me, no. And I was like, okay, why am I so not one? And then I realized it's to do with past lives and massive, yeah. So there was me, like, not, so I had resisted and blocked and tried to, a lot of these things. But it's different, like you, like a lot of people, right? Some of them start off and they just automatically take to readings of tarot psychic. They've got so honed tuned. Others, I mean, healing and this and that. So it goes. I don't know if it goes back to past lives. I can't say because I've had a mix of them. You know, whatever. We've all had a mix of all kinds of bloody things. So I wonder, yeah, we all. This is what I love about it. I watch it and I think, okay, this one, their path, but we see, Source is also clever. Could you imagine we all doing the same thing? I mean, it wouldn't work out too well.
But
So,
here's
yeah.
an got a healing done myself off a lady I know a while ago. And part of the healing what she was doing was, so we all know about cord cutting. So cord cutting is cutting cords between you people, from people, places, or things that are pulling on your energy. But she was doing cord cutting for me. But what she was doing, she was cord cutting from past lives that I've had, where the past lives that I had were taking energy from me in this current life. And what she said was the reason, now it was only the lives where they were taking energy from me, the ones that were given to me in this life she left. But the reason she was saying it was, when you come into one incarnation, you're supposed to be a healer, you have to be fully conscious, so you can't be given energy to other various lives that you've had. And after the healing, like, it felt like it, I had a serious weight just lifted off my shoulders as soon as I left, after she had done all this. It was fascinating. um but typically what I do with people is, so let's just say someone's coming to me for one-to-one healing. We usually sit down and talk for 10 or 15 minutes, talk to me what's going on in their life, to mention if there's any specific things that's going on, give them a, clean out their energy. I send them on a journey when, give them a healing. And then at the end, if any messages come through, I pass on the messages. But if someone comes to me and says, and look, this has happened and it's heavy stuff, it's like, look, I suffered abuse when I was younger, it's something I want to work through, then like we'll do a series of sessions around that. And I've done that with people before, and it's been so successful. So, because it's like we're able to go right back to when it all happened and heal it from that point. Now it can be heavy. That's why it's over sessions. Like you. So
But
where
how do
people.
you guide the client back? Because, like, in a regression, it's good. They can heal it. They can see it. How do you get the client though? Because it's going to be the person to experience that from that thing, so they can release it. How are your clients seeing it when you're explaining to them, or they feeling it, or how are they resolving it?
So I have a background in psychology, so I'm a pre-accredited counselor. So when it comes to doing the trauma work, I bring spirituality and the psychology together. So with trauma, I treat it like post-traumatic stress disorder. So with post-traumatic stress disorder, they say the best way to treat it is to relive the event. So let's just say you're coming to some 5 sessions. The first 2 sessions, it's very briefly just going over how the person is, how they felt, how they're feeling. And for the third and fourth session, what you do is, in them sessions, you get them to relive the event. And then the fifth session, then you're just like, you're kind of debriefing about how it all went. So, there's a preparation in it over the weeks. So what I do is I prepare the person over the first couple of sessions. And then once we get to a session where they feel they're ready to face it, whether it's the third or the fourth, what I do is I get them to picture their home, where the abuse happened. Let's just say the abuse happened in their home. I get them to picture their house, and I'm with them the whole time, and I'm talking them through it. So it's a guided piece. We go into the house, and what I get them to do is I get them to put all the energy of the abuse into one room. And before they go into the room, I've really, really, really prepared them. But in the room, all the heavy energy of that event is there. And what I get them to do is, when they go into the room, they're bringing a light with them. And when they go into the room, they're going to place that light into the middle of the room. And that light, what it's going to do is, throughout the session, it's going to basically disintegrate all the darkness. So by the time we're done, that room is going to go from being fully dark, really like where, that kind of energy, to it's just going to be, all the darkness is going to be
It's a visualization process. It doesn't matter how you do it, but it's going to be done somehow. Okay, yeah. So you're transforming the dark, the energy into light. Yes.
and that works. Like, I had people that have done this exact thing with, and the relief they have had after coming out of sessions, just completely lifted the weight off them. And done a little bit we have talked about it, in throughout them sessions we've done talking about, so there's talk therapy as well as healing work. But yeah, I
That is so useful that you've got background in counseling or psychology, because there is so much. I think you probably saw my video where I was saying there's a lot of people waking up when you've got, and this is why the mystery schools or the esoterics or the Buddhas and that were very careful who they allowed and what knowledge is, because if you were not stable or if you had trauma or if that's what I'm saying, it's energy. People don't realize when when you're holding so much trauma, your energy is so imbalanced, it's so incoherent to your actual energy field. I should know. I'm telling you from experience. It's extremely imbalanced. So when you wake up, what they call the realm of illusion, which is the astral, which everyone believes that what they're seeing is completely true. It's not at all true. The astral realm, what you visualize, they call the realm of illusions. And this is going to project. So your ego, your fear, your shadow, it projects. It is freaking terrifying when you go through this and you've got a lot of shit energy that's imbalanced. When you hit that lower realm or that first astral, it is. Wow. I mean, then exactly, because you're coming from that thing. It's like possession and this and oh my gosh, and attacks and but it's just because these are the ego, the fear, all these, when you're, it all manifests.
And that's what they say is the difference between someone that's really spiritually aligned and someone that's going through extreme depression and all these other feelings. It's like the difference is the person that's doing well spiritually is they're able to swim. They're going through all this stuff. They're able to see the triggers and traumas and work on it. The other person, they don't have the fucking knowledge that they need to get them to swim. So they're there and they're just drowned because they don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. So a lot of my work is that. It's when people are in this really bad place, it's giving them healings, but then also giving them the tools to manage what's going on, if that makes sense.
They've got to grow. I say it's helpful that you can do Reiki there, because now you're dealing with the emotional, which we can dissolve it, but you've got to be able to get the energy back into coherence, but you're also working with the energy. That's why I said the physical part people don't realize is so important.
But even just happen, like even if you sit there and just, if anyone even listening just does, even if you just sit there and just tap your heart, like you do that for 60 seconds, you start to feel the effect of it. I'm even feeling calmer just doing it now. Like, but it's amazing how just something as simple as tapping, like you're saying, have physical, just releasing. It's like one of the next things I want to do is, so I do massage as well. I'm getting back into doing massage. I done it years ago, but it's something I've been called to do again. But I'm going to start, there's a type of massage I'm going to start studying, and it's about releasing trauma from the body. But there's another thing, because now I can help people release trauma mentally, spiritually, and then if I learn how to do it physically, then I'm hitting all the different angles.
But you did the Reiki. That's the Reiki, the Tai Chi, Qigong already is anyway. So those Qigong, Tai Chi, and Reiki basically do that physical. So that is sorting out the moving blocks, whatever. It's moving the energy properly. But like that, I can show you 2 links. You might like them. I don't know if you've seen them, but there's a guy on here that had psychosis, and that sorted himself out, chucked all the medicine and get everything, rid of everything, schizophrenic, they told him, whatever, and started doing Tai Chi. He hasn't got any problem. I mean, I'm serious. I'll send you a link. There's another one on here called the Human Garage that does the physical trauma. Very interesting stuff. So you might be, I don't know where he studied, where he learned it from. Quite seems to be high knowledge. Seems to be that high, which the West doesn't know about. But it's weird. Yeah, trauma release stuff. I'm looking at some of these videos and think, wow, this is quite interesting. I don't know where it comes from. I haven't a clue, so I can't even comment on it. But I'll send you the links. Curiosity.
I'll tell you a good one.
You're there.
So when I was doing my undergrad, right? So I was in my psychology class, and it was really good because I'm interested in my spiritual stuff, but then I'm getting a psychology background with normal world kind of stuff, which is fantastic to get that balance. But one of the days, our psychologist lecturer was talking about schizophrenia, and she was saying the difference, because someone turned around and said, but what if you're so she was talking about people that have schizophrenia where they're seeing hallucinations of demons and stuff like that, and someone else in the class turned around and said, yeah, but what if they're seeing angels? That's a hallucination as well. Is that not schizophrenia? And what she said was, if you have somebody that has schizophrenia but they're seeing angels and really positive stuff, because it's not negatively impacting their life, they'll never get the diagnosis. But when you have somebody that's seeing all the negative stuff with schizophrenia, they're going to get the diagnosis because it's negatively impacting. And I would wonder, people with schizophrenia, are they just seeing stuff that normal people aren't seeing?
Yeah, and apparently. If you
they don't.
Apparently they're not. Apparently they're able to It's like their soul shadow split, so they're almost having two existences. They're living in the astral, they're living in the physical. This was channeled by Bashar, actually. It was fascinating. I heard this and I was like, oh wow. And same with ADHD, that we've been all this nonsense, and autism. It's the biggest sort of crap. It's conceptual, they're not linear. This is where we're going. The autistic people, and they'll tell you, they are conceptual. They're not linear minded. We've always been progressing, we've been evolving. So we were called hyperactive ADHD, which is more in the astral, and then now we've got the autism, and this is why it's so much. There's nothing wrong with them. There's not a disease, illness caused by any nonsense, actually. And they'll tell you, a lot of channels will tell you this. I think Crown's channeled this, Bashar's channeled this, many people, and you just innately know. And people, they'll tell you, they're very sensitive to energy. Gee, I can join them. I know what it feels like.
It's fun.
It's really not fun.
That you said that, because my normal job, so I'm a social care worker, so I work with kids with disabilities, and yeah, that's what I'd find, especially the kids that are non-verbal, they're even more tuned in than anybody else, because they're all just picking energy the whole time. So yeah, so it's funny.
It's useful. You can read the energy.
But that's what I find. Then you see, when I'm going into people's houses, it's less about what I physically do in the house. It's more about the energy I bring in. If I bring in, kids going to pick up on the calm energy, and they're going to be calm. But if I come in and my energy's up here, they'll know 10 miles away, and then that'll set them off. So yeah,
you're in your field. They're in your Taurus field. We don't realize you can sit in the back. I can do that, but I'm too close to people or get in a taxi and like, oh, after a while, if I don't put something around me and I'm just not keeping it out. I mean, the energies is like, oh, next minute, within 10 minutes, I start feeling is very uncomfortable, heavy, and I realize, oh shit, I'm sitting in the energy field. No, but that's what I'm saying. Isn't Source amazing? Because there's so much sexual abuse in your country. It's gone on there. It's like scary with the Catholic Church, and it's not all come to surface, but there's been so much abuse, and because of the poverty and you say then it's been violence in the home and abuse. So there's been just a huge amount of abuse. This is why alcohol and suicides and other problems, and poverty is wow. And you've got all the skills. You see, isn't it amazing? You carnated into Ireland. Look at all the things you've done. Isn't it incredible, Source? I love you. Thank you. Look at all the things you have now to deal with the problems you have in your area. It's amazing.
But then there's also the thing, and I won't go too deep into it, but it's like, it's our own personal traumas. We have to go through shit ourselves. And I don't mean shit, but it is shit. We have to go through stuff ourselves to get out the other end. Because if you haven't gone through, no, it's not that we have to go through the same thing as everybody else, but when you go through heavy stuff in your own life and you come out the other end and you've healed yourself from that really heavy, dark place, you now can hold space for somebody else going through it. And it's the main thing.
Understanding and compassion, massively. You have that empathy, you have the understanding of compassion and non-judgment. This is why we chose, this is why as a soul you experience all the shit you do.
Yeah. So like anytime you're going to somebody for healings or counseling or whatever it is, like you can rest assured knowing the person that you're going to most likely has been through a lot of stuff themselves. So when they're holding space for you, they genuinely know what you're going through, and it's because they genuinely understand it. They can hold a better space for you, would say, to help you heal that. Yeah. Well, I say go through your own stuff, because once you go through your own stuff, you become the best version of you, and everyone around you benefits. Your family benefits, work benefit, because you're going to be a happier version of you.
You pull everyone up around you. That's the same thing with your energy when you're working with these people, like you're saying. You will automatically, and this is what's same with us, we're pulling up the collective consciousness. It's a fact. We are impacting the planet. The more of us, as long as we're aware the load, people don't really realize how important your awakening or the light you're holding now in your consciousness now. You really don't see the impact, how very important your impact is on the planet at the moment. Your light, if you can hold light now, a big amount of light and calm, and send that out in unity into the field now, wow. So tell me something. Can I ask something? Because you'll also see past lives, because you see past lives that are relevant to this life. You don't need to see, well, you can see thousands and thousands of them. I mean, they're not really relevant, but it is interesting. So which ones? You must have gone back. So in your awakening, because I'll be relevant to your course now, how many of you, shamanic lives, Buddha lives, this and that? What lives, past lives are you aware that are connected to what you're drawn to now?
I'm glad I have an answer for you, because otherwise I'd be like, shit.
You don't have
Uh,
to.
so,
It's
here,
a test.
so I have a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old, two boys. I don't post them online. I just kids online. I just keep them offline. But
Yeah.
my eldest, me and him. So I've always been drawn to this. I'm not sure where the castle is. I actually have a screenshot on my phone of it. I seen it on TikTok randomly one day. But I remember I used to have during meditation. I used to go back to this one battlefield, and in this battlefield, I was killed, and I used to see this specific castle in the distance, and I was seeing this for years, and then I'd say about 2 years ago, I was on TikTok, and I seen the castle I always seen. I never seen the castle in a film or anything like that, but it happened to be on it, and so it turns out I was a medieval knight in this life, and I died in battle while on a crusade. But it's funny enough that my eldest son, he's 8, he was my friend in this incarnation, and I thought that was fascinating. It's like
Okay.
he's my son in this life, but in that life, me and him were friends. Actually, I'm still here.
Okay. Yeah.
It was interesting though, because in that life, there was a group of us that were together, and all of us died except for my son. So what happened? And it's interesting because what I was shown this was one of the traumas he experienced in that life was he had to go back home. I'm pretty sure we were English. He had to go back home, and he was the only one that survived out of the group of us. So in that life, that was one of the traumas he experienced. Now I'm not sure why I was shown that. Maybe there's a piece of work he'll have to do when he's older. But it seems in lives I've had, they all seem to be linked with combat, and I suppose that makes sense now. Me doing
Would make
martial arts.
sense with your martial art. Exactly.
Yeah.
Interesting, isn't it? Wow. Okay.
If you turned around to me and said, Anthony, do you have any connection to the Renaissance? I'd say, no
Okay,
interest.
but where's the shamanic thing come from? You see, in the Reiki, there's something there because
Oh,
it wouldn't be here in this life. You've
I
had one.
def yeah, there definitely is. I haven't like been shown a specific thing of boom, this is where, but I've seen little snippets of different parts, if that makes sense, from different lives. Like the
Well,
medieval.
did you know that the Knights Templars used to do this esoteric thing? This is why they were persecuted by the church. They found that when the church didn't want to pay them back, once the church stole all their money, the
Yeah,
Knights Templar, they stole their money or whatever else because they used to, anyway, this is why they got the bad name, the Freemasons. They stole basically the money, then they said, oh, look, these people are bad and persecute them. But they had fought for the church or whatever else, exactly. But they used to, this is what a thing, that three initiation thing. Like it came back from Atlantis. They used to go in the coffin. That's why they used to say they were doing up to which they had nothing spooky, but of course everything in those days was dark. You say, oh look, they're doing dark magic. They were going back and they were astral projecting. They were putting themselves in the 3D. This is rite of passage thing. That's exactly what they were doing. So this is probably where it comes from. You see, because
sorry.
otherwise, where does your out of the body story and this is it? Where does it come from? You've practiced in other lives, definitely.
It's sorry when you threw me on the spot. Kind of, I'm really drawn back to Egypt. I think I've had at least 2 or 3 different lives there, but there's one I don't fully understand it. So I'm saying this having not fully comprehended it. But I keep seeing this vision where I'm on top of it's not a pyramid, but it's like imagine the pyramids, but they're cut off. So it's like maybe they're
Aztec. Yeah,
going up.
yeah.
No, definitely Egyptian. So it's like going up to a temple. It's like, but it's the top of the steps of a temple. And I'm always standing there with this Egyptian woman. I have a bird-like headpiece on, and I have a staff in my hand. And every time I'm brought back there, this is just this specific thing I see. I'm doing some type of movements with my hands while speaking to the group. But I think what I'm actually doing to the group, it's I'm not actually speaking to them. I think it's I'm doing light language while doing the physical version of
Bird
language.
represents the astral or the wisdom, spiritual wisdom. That's what the bird actually represents. That's why the American Indian still does. The bird represents that. So you probably were, you know what I'm saying? We're all basically going back. But yeah, then the funny thing is also we come in with a huge soul group. We come in with a lot. People just think it's your immediate family. You come in, almost everybody you interact with, you come in with a massive group of you. You'll find, like you and I, probably, yeah, I mean, I've had many lives in Egypt, I can tell you. Egypt, Peru, Buddha, shaman, just goes on and on. So there were many, many, many lives like that. But we come in a big group, and everybody I've actually, a lot of people I've sort of, now since the awakening, drawn to or connected with, whatever else, I have a connection to them. It's like my friend Linda was a priestess in Atlantis. Oh, well, anyway, One or two people I connected with here, we just drawn to each other. Turns out were my children from another realm. It's so funky. And then I found this one, and I don't want to comment. I had a hunch that we had shared a life. Can't say it was a pleasant one. It makes sense of what you did, yeah. Anyway, and I died because of that. I was actually murdered or stoned to death, whatever. But this was something. But yeah, so it probably could have been you. I don't know. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. You know, we all play roles. But almost everybody you connect to, you'll find you have a connection. You're drawn to them, and you got whatever role you're playing, big or small. But they're normally on a big group, and you've had some kind of past life with them. Yeah.
Can I tell you? There's this. A friend of mine has a cousin. I won't give too many identifying details away, but basically, she fucking hates me for no. Well, she more or less hates me, but for no reason. Like it's not like we don't get along. She just doesn't like me. And I remember one day I was in a meditation, and again, medieval nights, right? So I was medieval night. I was in France. Don't know where the hell I was, but I was English, and we were attacking France. And there was this house, and me and a group of the lads I went into this house, and we killed this French man. And what I was shown in the meditation was she was the French man in that life, and now in this life she's female. And that's why she hates me so much.
Yeah.
And I had no that story is so crazy. You just come up with that out of your own head. And when it came to meditation, I hadn't planned on it. And I find when stuff comes to you, when you really don't have any plans for it to come to you, and information just comes, just when you sit with it, it does make sense.
Mm.
You know?
Interesting. People don't realize it. Also, like problems you have now, pains or illnesses linked back to past lives. I mean, it's amazing. That's a whole subject. We'll never stop if we go into that one. But yeah, link them. You think, shit, it was, and like it makes so much sense. What you struggled with in this life has ties, or you had it. It's a theme that's played out. Your weakness, like your attachment, your whatever. It carries through in many lives, and oh wow, it's mind blowing, hey. All right, so now that does kind of confirm what I thought. we you were the reason I actually was killed in a life. It doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter. It's all good, you know. We all soul family. Who cares? You know what I mean? It's all good. It's all wonderful.
But like that's where this stuff can get confusing because it's like, right, I have my own stuff going on in my own world that's happening, and then apparently I've past life stuff that's happening as well, and then I have what cycle is the moon in, and like there's a lot going on. So what I always say to people is just work through whatever's coming up for you at the time. Like it is really interesting to get into past life stuff, to get into the moon cycle, to get into all this, but just manage what you can in the moment. Because it can be a bit daunting because like there's so many things to work on, but it's like you will work on the right stuff if you're in alignment and you're going the right path. You will work on the right stuff at the right time, and you don't need to worry.
You know what I find so weird, right? You've had so many past lives being a British that we persecuted, that was really done so much to that poor country. So you've had so many past lives fighting with England and being British, right? My physical ancestry has ties to Ireland. That's funny enough. Before I even woke up, I don't want to know, because I know the history. I was like, I don't want to know. But there's a castle in your country that belonged to my family.
Where?
Yeah. I had titles. My family came from title. Anyways, but it's fine. I said, I don't want to know anymore. Thank you very much. I'm not going down any DNA rabbit hole, because I don't want. None of it wasn't. I'm sure they weren't nice people, back then. That's the way it was. But so I've seen past lives in Ireland. So I have very much a tide. It is drawn to Ireland that time. And here you are, all these British lives stuck in Ireland. Oh, so now guess what? In England. And my ancestry, biological ancestry, has ties, but they didn't. I think they came from here, because they weren't titled people in Ireland. They put them there, okay, and landholders, and you poor people were just slaves, kind of thing, to the lords and ladies. So that was one of my the biological family history was, anyway, in the physical body, So I was like, okay, that's far enough now. Don't want to know. Yeah.
But weird. Like earlier, it's so mad how where people are put. Like you said, you described it as countries because you've probably been to more countries than me. But for me, like geographically, like I know some people that are super spiritual, super sensitive, and then they end up in living in areas where the energy is like, whoa, it's on the ground. It's just really heavy and dense. But it's like, it's obvious that they're put there because they're keeping the energy high there, that
Thank you.
space.
Yeah.
You know? And I see a lot of that. But then, okay, so there's this thing I read before, and it's this idea: you have two type of spiritual people. You have the hermit that lives in the mountain and has very little access to society, and then you have the healer that goes into society and lives in society and heals from within. So it's like the hermit, what he does is where he is, he's going to raise the vibration in the space, and eventually that will eventually keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger until, even though he's living in the middle of nature, his essence will reach the city, which will help heal the cities. Whereas the other person is going into the cities and he's healing from within and creating bubbles to go out. So what I got from that is it's two people doing things very differently, but eventually they're still doing the same thing because
Yeah.
there's energy out.
This is what the Buddhists did all the time. All those meditators, all those people meditating to raise the human consciousness, to send it out, they slowly rose. This is what we are all doing. All of us that are awakened, most of you are watching this, you're awakened lot. What you want to call light workers, star seeds, healers, shamans, whatever you're, and you'll be guided into a different path, shamanic, this and that, because we're all different. And we're all going to be drawn to different things. So some people are going to like Reiki. Some people are going to love yoga. Some people are going to love, Hare Krishna ones, Buddhist style, this, that. It doesn't matter. We're all raising in a consciousness, and we all got different traits, or we're all going to have different paths to suit the collective. It's like a doctor, a nurse, a cook, a chef. We all got to do something different. I just find the whole thing amazing. The whole Earth game, or this reality, even, just for me, mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing.
And that goes by how all of us are important because we're all needed. Because you could have 10 guys, me and 10 other guys standing in a row, and we're all going to come at things from a little bit of a different perspective. But the world needs all them little differences. That's why we're all important. So like, it's so easy everyone should have a good self-worth because we're all important. We all play a role. Like, you're going to help your family, I'm going to help my family. But if I'm not in the picture, you can't help my family because you probably never get access to them. So it's like, we all have our own little groups we need to look after. That's why we're so important.
People don't realize it's like, just being yourself, just by holding that frequency, vibration, of higher consciousness, of staying in the love thing, automatically you're going to uplift those around you. They're going to, okay, you change. Oh, wow, I want to be like that. And they're going to, but when you try and force it on them and tell them, and, oh, you must do that and that, the opposite will happen. But by just being in that energy and things, you will affect those around you. Absolutely. And this is what we're doing to the planet, yeah. You the guys are the future. So I find it fascinating. Wow. It's incredible, hey, the source.
Like with that, like we just said, even if you're not actually doing healing work on other people, just by you healing yourself, everyone is benefiting. Yeah. It's lovely. Like, you don't have to technically be in the healing game to be healing. So it's great.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. We're holding that energy and we're spreading it out. Yeah.
You need to stop trying to get out of here early. We need another 20 or 30 years out of you.
Huh? Oh, I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. So I'm saying I'm not worried. I don't worry either way. I'm not. I said to Source, even if it's my time to go, I'm very happy because I've really done it. Okay, been through it already. So this will be like a breeze. This is like, it's so cool. I must say, it's awesome. It's really awesome leaving the body or being on the other side. So I don't mind. Being here is cool. I'm like, now I love it. Then I didn't. Forehand. So being here is cool, but also not, leaving the body and just being free, to being, it's like astral, I suppose, being free of that energy and being out, just being, wow, is also awesome. So I don't mind, whatever. I don't know what my path is.
I had a message come through the other day. I was spending time with a friend of mine and I did not plan it to happen, but randomly an ex-partner of hers that passed away came in. And he had a message to pass on, and I think the message was beautiful. It was more of an understanding piece about when people pass over. So it's like, when someone passes over, so you miss them because they're physically not with you. That's the big absence. It's like, right, even if you believe in spiritual stuff, because they're physically not there, it can be daunting for us. But how he described it to me was, he said, but because when we're on the other side, they know what you're thinking, they know what you've gone through, they know all the dynamics of any scenario that you're in. They understand it because they have access to that information. So it's when they visit you, when they're physically there, well, astrally there, sorry, because of all the information they're getting from you, to them it feels like they are physically there. So the message to him was, is like, when your past loved ones come to visit you, to them it's as if they are with you in the physical. So the person that doesn't feel that is you. I thought that was lovely. So it's like, when they visit you, there's not this loss on their end because they're happy they're in your presence. To them, it's like they're. Do you get me? So it's lovely
You know
knowing.
what people find when you're missing them? You know why? It's because you're feeling their energy.
Hmm.
A lot of people don't realize is because if you think about that, they actually are there. And this is why people often think, oh, you're thinking about them because you're feeling their energy, especially if you think about them anyway, immediately, then you're going to be alert to the fact that you are. It's because once you're in a physical body, whatever you think of when you're not in your physical body, you're there like that because you haven't got the density. You travel, it's instant.
Yeah.
So whatever you think of, boing. So when you actually, people don't realize when they're talking about or praying or even to Jesus, whatever, they don't realize that they're there. Boom, that's it. Because now you've put your focus and your attention on it. They'll immediately know. They immediately know you are. And as soon as they put their attention on you, boom, you know about it. They're there. It's amazing.
And that was another thing I read before, and I felt it as well. It's like, if you're just, let's just say, if you're there and you think about a loved one that's passed, if you just think about them, oh, I wonder how such and such is, they'll feel that in the astral realm, but it's not enough to bring them forward. They'll be aware that you talk about them. But if you're there and like, I really need to see you, can you please be? That sends, like, then they'll come. But the whole thing was, just think about them, they won't come. But if you genuinely consciously sit there and say, look, I want to feel you around me right now, if you can, please be here.
Or give me a message or help me or I need your help or whatever. Yeah, they do.
But you have to be specific, call them in rather than just think about them.
Sometimes some of them do stick around as guides. So some might be assigned, might be agreed to stay with you as your guide. People don't realize. So they actually, I was told, I don't know who it is, that the man that I sort of became my adopted father later in life was like a father figure for his friend. Actually, he's supposed to be one of my guides, and I was like, oh, okay. And he's doing some healing, whatever. I don't know, whatever. He's got a purpose, obviously, for it, but I don't know. Anyway, who knows?
I was supposed to do it 2 weeks ago. It just didn't happen. I'm going to do an Instagram live probably on Friday night. I'm going to post it afterwards, but I'm going to do a whole meditation. It's probably going to be about 30 minutes long, but I'm going to do it on reconnecting with your past loved ones. So you'll be able to go over what I'm going to do in the meditation is I'll ground people. I'll bring them to a space where they can call in a loved one if they want, but the whole emphasis on the meditation is sending love to that loved one. But by it's going to mirror back. So you know what I mean? There's going to be that connection there, but I'm going to do that this week. That's what I love about, here or on Instagram or whatever. It's so handy to just put stuff up. People can look at it whenever they want. It's perfect.
And if you're inspired now you can just go live. So it's like I do. If I get an inspired thing, whatever, whatever's come through an astral or source or whatever message, the collective, you'll just feel inspired talk. You'll actually just, it's like you can't help not share it, put it that way. I'm like, I've got to share this, It just happens.
And all the right people will hear it, and they'll hear the right part of the message they're meant to hear.
At the right time, yeah.
It's like tarot card readings even on TikTok. I find if you flick through whatever it is that comes up in that moment, that's the message for you. I suppose it's like any. Yeah.
Well, we'll do this again.
That was a quick hour. That's actually an hour and 10 minutes.
I don't know how long we've been on. How long have we been on?
An hour and 10 minutes, thereabouts.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Is that okay? Okay. I'm going to let you get some rest now after work and whatever. But yeah, we must do it again. You can catch up.
Option to post this on YouTube, or how does that work?
Yeah. You'll see when you finished it, I'll tell you, because it automatically saves to like a live center, and then you go. It takes about half an hour sometimes quick. But when you end your live, it generates a recording that goes to, if you go to your page, I'll show you. Anyway, it might help someone else wants to know on here. So when you go to your page, your TikTok page, and you click on your own profile, you've got this thing. Here, there's the three dots, the three lines where you got find settings. There's three lines. Click on that, and then it'll say settings and privacy, or it says live center. Now, when you click on the live center, you go in there, you look down for something, it says replays, and that's it. So every live you make, it will automatically generate a recording, but give it time. Don't try and go too, sometimes you mess it up if you go too soon. So give it half an hour, go there, or the next morning, whatever, and you'll see, then you can see the replay, it says a recording, replay, and you can download it. You click on download, and it's quick. So within 10 minutes, it's downloaded to your computer. You can do it you can just download it from anywhere, any tablet, computer, phone, whatever, and upload it to YouTube, upload it to TikTok, wherever you want to upload it, Facebook, this, that. So
That's
I
good.
upload them all to YouTube.
Yeah.
So you will be on YouTube, on my
Right.
YouTube.
I'm going to be
All the,
Well, look, for anybody that has listened in, thank you very much. I am somewhat active on here, but I'm more on Instagram. But you can find the link in my TikTok page.
Oh, I'm so glad. So yeah, any of you guys there or in Ireland, you can meet up, and then maybe you can even meet up. Exactly, the more the merrier, because the soul family. The more we all. This is why everyone's connected to help. It's co-creating, collaboration. This is the future. To collaborate, co-create for the greatest good. Because we help ourselves, we help the planet. We all lifted. We all lifted together. There's no me, myself, I, like we all thought. So yeah, absolutely. And if I ever get over there again, who knows?
You'll be doing it live in person.
Love the place. I love the country. Probably I don't know why I've always drawn to it. It felt like home. It was so strange going back there in this life anyway. It was so strange because I felt so at home. It was like, wow, this felt like home. I felt just like so comfortable, so at ease there. It was so strange. And I haven't been there this lifetime again, you know what I mean, that I'm aware of. I know I've seen some lives, I was like, okay, but a long time ago. Probably a few hundred years or something, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, my friend, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to drag many people on here because I want people to see where our future is going. And this is where it is going, really. And this is how people don't realize. This is where we're going. It will pull up the collective. Eventually, we'll get on par. We'll eventually move, into a, yeah.
But it's nice just coming on this and just chatting about spiritual stuff, and just whatever comes up, comes up.
Yeah. Next time we'll do that. I want you to maybe also do a little bit of a live meditation, for the new earth. People, we need to start good time now, especially with all the shit that's going to be going on, is to like do our little lives, do affirmations, or do a little meditation, or do a little grid, and for the new earth, and thank. So it's like when I do, like I say, I love people. All people are kind, friendly, helpful, collaborative. I talk as if it's already happened. It's like people know when you give gratitude. So I say, thank you I'm so glad everyone's so kind, honest, friendly, this, that, I'm talking as though the new earth, the is already that way. And the more we do that, the better. I'd like to, I'll see. All right, we catch up soon.
Hey, thanks
Thank
everybody.
you, everybody. All right.
Bye.
Bye.